Hey, collective, it's Brandon Curtis at Entpgathering Science and Spirituality meeting with a channeled reading for the collective. I am using the Aset Egyptian Oracle cards to start. I hope this finds you well, fam. And I just want to thank you for all your donations, your likes, your shares, and certainly your subscribes. If you're new to my channel and my readings, welcome. Here at Entpgathering, I gather all the seemingly disparate typology systems and combine them into one channel where you can come and get readings if you are from the MBTI community, as I'm an MBTI certified practitioner, or if you're from the astrology community. I do various readings per sign. Today's reading is going to be about Saturn having moved into the sign of Pisces. What does that mean? For me, with Saturn in my first house, in the sign of Taurus, and I have a 12th house stellium, it means illumination of karmic energies that were once hidden from you, fam. So I want to tap into the collective energies in your situation. Not all messages will resonate. Calling in Goddess Isis, Anubis, Sekhmet, Sobek, Thoth, and Ma'at. Also Kuan Yin and Kali Ma. And of course, last but not least, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Michael to help ground the collective and ensure accurate readings. I want to thank you, angels. I want to thank you, God and Goddess energies of the celestial bodies, and most especially Saturn and Neptune. Let's get into a channeled song, shall we? I haven't done that in a while. Let's do a Gold by Kiara. Roof was fallen, let me love me fallen, I just know. Gold up in my teeth. Don't care what you say to me, I'ma bite your feelings out. I missed you in the basement, but your brother was a good substitute for you. Ooh. Some third-party situation. All right, I'm gonna take these. We've got Imset with Air Spirit. Imset, Air Spirit. Imset guards the remains of those who move on. Imset, I believe, is one of the four god or goddesses that is of Horus. Let's get into... Imset is one of the four disciples or sons of Horus, and this Neteru, or god, ruled the vital canopic funerary jar that contained the liver of the mummy. With the face of a man, he signifies conscious choice in his life. Imset and the three other sons of Horus were also invoking ceremonial magic, alchemy, and healing. I lead the four magic genii, for I am Imset, leader of the brethren. As I come from the west, I will tell you to make careful choices in life in accordance with the law of Ma'at, for these will influence the health of your body, your liver, and your eternal life. Avoid too much alcohol and ask me to give you a magical healing of your body and mind. Satis, fertility and satisfaction. Satis, also known as Satet, is the feminine aspect of Kunum. She initiates new projects and sends her energy forward to create them. As a goddess of fertility, she pours out the life-giving waters to dry, parched Egypt, for Satis was the goddess of the annual flooding of the river Nile, with the inundation heralded by Sirius rising in the northern skies. Interesting, I always thought that Isis was the goddess of the annual flood. Through her connecting the star energies with the rising of the Nile at the right time, she is connected to the number 7. Blue Lotus, card number 7, enlightenment. And last we have Ra, card 30, with creative power. Hathor on the bottom of the deck, number 14, love and music. All right, let's get into the cards. I have a feeling this will all make sense once we get the tarot cards out here. So with Imset, air spirit, this is Aquarius energy, Gemini, Libra. Saturn rules both the 10th house, Capricorn, and the 11th house of Aquarius. This is a Saturn and Pisces reading, and this being the first card out or in the root chakra. Next up, channel song, Chlorine by 21 Pilots, which is a song about creative power here with Ra. It's about using a muse to create. Sip it on straight chlorine, let the vibe slide over me. The beat is a chemical. Beat is a chemical. When I leave, don't save my seat. I'll be back when it's all complete. The moment is medical. A moment is medical. Sipping on straight chlorine. Loving what I'm tasting. Venom on my tongue. Dependent at times. Poisonous vibration. Help my body run. This idea that poisons to us, maybe drugs in this case, help the creative power and bring enlightenment with the Blue Lotus is, and we have Hathor, love and music. It's not a, let's see, when I was going through my spiritual awakening, I was also using various drugs, but given Saturn in my first house, I'm pretty strong against the effects. I honestly feel I never fell into any addictions. Addictive behavior, yes. Binging, yes. But I have to admit, there was something about my DNA, my chemical makeup, that when I would use, and my chlorine of choice, if you will, was anything that increased my thought and heightened my awareness. Because of my autism and because of my neurodivergent thinking, it would actually kind of act like a, what's that prescription drug called? Adderall. And it would help me focus. Now, at the same time I say this, I am certainly not condoning any sort of drug use. Yet, if I ever relapsed or binged, I would knowingly do this and promised myself that I would become and remain, while under the influence, hyper aware of the experience, so that I could discern, so I could understand why I relapsed, so I could understand why or how my particular chlorine was aiding my evolution, my soul's evolution. So that's a channeled message. All right, here we go. Again, I'm not condoning any sort of drug use. I'm just trying to help you, collective, understand if you are struggling with any sort of addictions or relapse, that, not to beat yourself up. And what I found and asked myself, being in a state of hypervigilance when I would use, is what triggered the relapse? And then what could I discover within the experience of the relapse? What positive and negative, it's like even bringing this experience, I just got it, the heart and the feather, and before Ma'at. I honestly believe, and I don't think this is delusional to say, that I consciously used the relapse experience and these chemicals to help initiate myself, to help myself heal myself. And I think I was successful. I haven't used in a very long time now. And Five of Swords in reverse. This is, we got Black Parade, extended version. Five of Swords is Aquarius energy, more air energy from Imset. Five of Swords in reverse is an energy of a stoppage or a halting to the self-deception or self-limiting beliefs and the air energy, swords energy, that is sent to us from other people. Words, even actions of conflict. I'm thinking of the line from All the Stars Are Closer by Kendrick Lamar. Where he references a bullet, a sword, a morgue, that he's invincible to. So, whatever person is sending this Five of Swords, or if this is an internal exploration of your own self-limiting beliefs, that's what's going on in your energy right now. The challenge is the devil. So what I'm picking up, fam, is giving the channeled messages so far. This is shadow work, and the devil is the archetype of the shadow. With the Five of Swords in reverse, some of you are going in and really looking at your triggers, really looking at and contemplating and sussing out your own limiting beliefs. For the King of Cups, High Priestess on the bottom of the deck. I'm going to check something here. So, in this process, fam, of Five of Swords in reverse being the current situation with the Devil as the challenge to this, Devil representing self-limiting beliefs and the archetype of the shadow, what the Divine is asking you to focus on is King of Cups energy. Archetype of the intellectual father. You know, when we go into Five of Swords or experience Five of Swords energy in the reverse, again, I'm picking up that this is your activity. This is your willingness to really look at your triggers and what's going on inside. Shadow work. There is lots of knowledge, fertility, and satisfaction here with Satis, and enlightenment with the Blue Lotus. What comes out of this is the creative power of Ra. And in your case, Hathor here on the bottom of the deck, love and music. So there's a way of taking these darker experiences of the Devil energy, looking at our shadow, understanding it, Five of Swords, understanding the triggers and the conflicts, and even the people who influence our cognitive preferences, who influence our thoughts, in other words. Out of this work comes enlightenment and creative power when we do shadow work. And also, what comes of it is, yes, intellectual power and understanding, but also emotional intelligence. We know IQ, that's, air energy. But there is an intelligence that comes from our emotions. There are messages in song, if you can pay attention to them. In the recent past and the energy that is leaving, Four of Wands, Aries energy, stepping away from an established home you once had. And the strength in this situation is Ten of Pentacles, really tapping into your bloodlines, into the tree of life, which is associated with working through the Sephiroth, right? On the tree of life. 10 here, 10th Sephiroth. Also 10 is a number of completion. And yet again, I say the strength is in tapping into your ancestral bloodlines. And also, there's an abundance of information, both intellectual and emotional intelligence, that your ancestors bring you through these generational curses, if you will. Usually if anyone is struggling with any sort of addictions, and I'm talking about, alcohol, food, sex, and I'm not just talking about recreational drug use or even prescription drug use. Let's just talk food, for example, or nicotine or caffeine, anything that lowers our vibration. By definition is not good for us. However, understanding the levels of vibration that you have access to is important. That's why we do shadow work. That's why I'm counseling you to pay close attention when you do overeat. Understand what triggered you to make that choice, because it is a choice. And then, once in that experience, the advice is pay close attention to every moment as it passes while in that experience for more knowledge coming in from your higher self and from your lower self. And I'm also picking up with this Four of Wands in the recent past, and you're leaving. This is leaving family, passed on addictions or ways of being that no longer serve you and your generation. Certainly, you're not going to pass this on to your kids, or that is the message. It's important to know that you can stop this repetitive way of being that you picked up from your parents and they picked up from their parents. This is the benefit of really doing shadow work and looking at the darker aspects of your trials, your tribulations, your triggers, and realizing that mind over matter is certainly a benefit to you at this time. Five of Swords in reverse. Looking at the triggers, as I mentioned, and realizing, these are patterns of behavior that I learned from my environment, from my early childhood conditioning. This is also the card of the devil, is conditioning. Once you can identify that, it's so much easier to gain control over the entire mess. I mean, it feels like a mess, but when you do the shadow work, you're deconstructing every part of the experience, i.e. overeating or in this case. And you can see it for what it is. High Priestess on the bottom of the deck. All right, in the near future, talk about healing. We got the Empress. So a combination of all the queens in the deck. Also, this is the archetype of the mother. This is ultimate healing right here. So I foresee that you are well in control of this process, fam. And you may feel that you're not. Maybe you're new to shadow work. I'm hearing for some of you that's true. And I'm also hearing too. I mean, you've got Four of Wands, you've got the Ten of Pentacles, and the Empress out here. you are well supported in this work that you're doing. I'm hearing, you're going to, what it's doing is it's developing the high priest or high priestess within you, so that you can simply, even while in a state of relapse, no matter what it is, observe, remain silent. When I would relapse in whatever way, let's just take recreational drug use, marijuana or cannabis. It's usually associated with going to parties, hanging out with your buddies, and laughing your asses off. All that is good, right? But when I started doing my shadow work, and I wanted to get away, I wanted to understand, why am I now dependent psychologically on cannabis use? I got the message very clearly, and I've got the feeling and the motivation to distance myself from anyone who was attached to my old use of said chemical, in this case THC or cannabis. And I would go it alone. That way, I could sit in high priest or high priestess mode and receive the downloads through feeling, through emotions, through thought. Through my five senses, and also my third eye, my heart chakra. All right. The advice from Spirit is the Chariot. Yeah, heart chakra energy. This is the sign of Cancer. It's that place within us that, no matter where you go, there you are. This is having control over, or giving over your control of the situation to love, to God, to faith, emotional faith. Because you can rationalize to the cows come home. But again, King of Cups energy, which is the divine saying, this is where we need you to focus on, this emotional intelligence, and for the Chariot to come out as the advice card. Most definitely, the advice is to stay in your heart chakra, keep it open, which if you have access to it, it might be a swinging, wild energy because you're not used to it being open. It means that your first three chakras are well enough balanced that you've opened up the fourth chakra, and that's a great feat, especially if you're in Five of Swords energy in reverse. All right, what's in the environment? We've got Nine of Cups, Piscean energy, mutable water energy. So more cups, more water. The Chariot being moon energy. We've got air, fire, earth, Ten of Pentacles. This is the tree of life and ancestors. I've got the Empress, which is Venusian energy. It's the planet Venus. It's both earth and air. It is the five senses. And Venus is currently in the sign of Taurus. So we're getting downloads about or through our five senses. Okay, you can't make this up. I think the next channeled song, Blackout Days by Phantogram. Hide the sun, I will leave your face out of my mind. You should save your eyes, 1,000 voices howling in my head. Speak in tongues, I don't even recognize your face. Mirror on the wall, tell me all the ways to stay away. Away, away, and stay away. Dig a hole, fireworks exploding in my hands. If I could paint the sky, would all the stars be shining bloody red? Blackout days, I don't recognize you anymore. So, speaking of relapse, here we have Sarah and Josh creating a beautiful song about relapsing, about blacking out through use of alcohol and lowering the vibration so much that one does black out. One doesn't learn. If one blacks out, it's like 5 of Swords energy or 9 of Cups energy in the environment. So you could recently have been through a day of blacking out. No need to beat yourself up. But there is a need to understand why you did and how you got into that state. So again, identifying your trigger, and then while in a drunken stupor before your blackout, and certainly after, once you wake up, it's really important to nurse yourself back to health, but try to remember as much of the experience as possible before the blackout, before things got way too dark. Again, to understand your triggers and what put you in there. And also, were you around anyone else and an enabler of any sort? All right, in the hopes and fears, we have 3 of Swords, heartache. It's in the upright. So, a trigger for you could have been a past heartache. And that's okay, everybody experiences that. So of the Swords on the table, we have 5 of Swords and 3 of Swords. That's 8 of Swords. That's my first card of shadow work. The strength to be able to really look at your own shadow or begin the process. 9 of Swords would be taking responsibility for your thoughts, for your choices. And 10 of Swords would be a completion of that ego death process. A full understanding of how and why you put yourself into that situation. Again, understanding the trigger, your response to it, or in this case, a reaction, and learning how to respond to the trigger is the key goal in a healthy ego death experience. Because it can prevent you from falling into relapse in the future by the same trigger. And triggers will come to it. It's the same trigger, stemming from some past heartache, but it comes to us in a different guise, in a different form, or through a different relationship or person. All right, the final outcome, 4 of Swords, rest, mental rest, I love this because in the hopes and fears, you have 3 of Swords, and the final outcome is 4 of Swords. I really enjoy 4 of Swords energy. Why? Because it's resting and healing after an initial look at 3 of Swords energy. I'm picking up very strong for you, fam, and take only what resonates. This could be you, or it could be your person. They, in their current environment, the advice is to get into Chariot mode. The advice is double. It's take a look at the King of Cups energy within them, or within you. Take what resonates. Again, it could be you or the person that you're thinking of who is in this ego death work, and taking a look at, what puts them in a state of relapse or causes them to overdrink to where they black out. The advice is look at the masculine water energy, which is going to bring you intellectual knowledge and emotional intelligence. Step into Chariot mode, which is moon energy, intuition. And, 4th house, ruled by Cancer, or of Cancer, ruled by the moon. I think the moon is in Aquarius as of today, or the last 24 hours. Moving from Pisces into the sign of Aquarius, air energy, set here with the air spirit. This is bringing knowledge. That's why we see 3 cards of Swords, air energy, out on the table. And we have 3, 4, and 5 of the minor arcana out, Swords energy. So you or your person most definitely are navigating this path, navigating in the Chariot. It's like stepping into this Chariot that is actually guided by or moving via energy of the higher self, of the gods, of faith and intuition, intellectual strength and knowledge, to move through, even though it's scary, or there's a fear of really addressing, taking a look at, and processing 3 of Swords energy, Libra energy, about your relationships that have brought you heartache, and trusting that the Chariot will take you to the 4 of Swords, where there will be healing, there will be rest. Again, bottom of the deck is High Priestess. This is a time, coupled with 4 of Swords, for you or your person, collective, to rest, get plenty of sleep, and Jesus counsels us, I believe it's in Acts, to find a desolate place. Desolate meaning free of anybody else. Ideally out in wilderness, where things aren't controlled, but by Gaia, by Mother Nature. And it's there in silence, being desolate, not being affected by anybody else's energy, that you can commune with God. And whether or not you believe in a higher power, then it's a time to commune with your higher self. At least you should have faith in that. All right, I'm going to leave this here and thank you for the time committed to sitting through this reading. I hope you received the information, confirmation you needed to move forward in confidence into this Four of Swords energy. Allowing this High Priestess energy. Allowing for healing that is going to bring a lot of emotional intelligence to you. There's only so much reasoning we can do about your situation or the situation for your person, whomever you're thinking of. So it's then time, after you've exhausted yourself with this Five of Swords in reverse, and this Devil being a challenge to that work, the archetype of shadow, as I mentioned. And I'm just seeing too that, a lot of this comes from your family. And maybe the matriarch here with the Empress. From the home, Four of Wands, Ten of Pentacles. So that's surrounding this Five of Swords in reverse and the Devil as the challenge. The advice again is King of Cups energy. And the Chariot. Rather than relying on the information you receive through reasoning, through Swords energy, it's important now that you've initiated healing through looking at your shadow and realizing that these are passed on in your family's bloodlines, in your family's history. Learning to forgive the parents in this situation, but also, and we do that through Chariot, right? Again, we have the Empress and the Chariot, fourth house, Cancer. Mother, children, Nine of Cups as the current environment, maybe an overindulgence in taking in of the five senses. But there's only so much of that we can discern from the experience through Swords energy. At some point, we're going to have to learn emotional intelligence, because through that, you're going to get so much more information that will help explain why you repeat these cycles of blackouts or relapse. It's because it's in your household, it's in your family lines. And you can't, or you should not, or what you're being told is, and learning through this process is to be able to forgive, grow your compassion for your family, and trust, and also show gratitude for the learning. Gratitude to yourself, and high praise for yourself for being the one to break generational curses or patterns of behavior that are ultimately destructive, that keep your family's bloodline from evolving. You're the one to break out of that cycle, or the person that you're thinking of. That's what they're going through right now. They should be supported at this time, because they are learning fertility and satisfaction. They are gaining enlightenment. And through that, there's going to be a great creative power coming from Ra and Hathor, specifically of love and music. I look forward to, hearing from you in the comments. how this creative power that you've gained through this experience, or the experience with this person, again, this could be you or it could be the person that you're thinking of. I'd be interested in hearing your story and how this creative power is going to be expressed. All right, I'm going to leave it here, and thank you in advance for your donations. If you would like a personal reading, you can check out my website, Entpgathering.com, and check out the description box for various links to type yourself or gain insight into ways to donate to the channel. All donations are prayers that I set aside time and invoke a prayer to you, having received that donation. I'm here transfixed on Hathor, love and music. You know, with Venus in Taurus, all of our senses are heightened. It's good to go ahead and treat yourself to a good meal. Just be careful not to overindulge or binge on this energy. And if you do, don't beat yourself up. Enjoy it, and also remain hyper vigilant or aware of the experience so you can identify your trigger, or know that your trigger is a heightened sense of the urge or the desire to inundate your five senses with experience. And see it as a learning opportunity, so that next time that trigger, when it appears or presents itself, will have less of a hold over your reaction, so that you can then respond to that trigger rather than react, and put yourself into a Five of Swords situation by those triggers. You Don't Do It For Me Anymore by Demi Lovato. I see the future without you. The hell was I doing in the past? Now that I've learned all about you, a love just like ours wouldn't last. I won't fall for your game, so don't hate me when I say that you don't do it for me anymore. This is a person. This is a trigger. This is an addiction that she's speaking of, singing of, and has written about. All right, so check out the songs in full. Listen to them. And I hope this resonated with you. Take only what resonates. Tarot is an intuitive exercise. Not all the messages in this general collective timeless reading will resonate, but should a single one resonate with you, I'd appreciate a like. Put your energy into this reading and help build the energy within this reading for the collective, for others just like you who are going through this great, very strong, very impressive transformational work that you're doing. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. And until the next reading, namaste.